Welcome. Today is February 10th, 2025, and we are starting the meeting today at 7 o'clock. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Spaeth?
Here.
Vice Mayor Chance?
Here.
Councilmember Hackey?
Here.
Councilmember Gibson?
Here.
Councilmember Stricula?
Here.
Mayor Nelson?
Here. All right, if you could all stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, I need a motion to approve the minutes from the January 13th council meeting.
So moved?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? Anyone abstain?
Mayor, I'll abstain.
Okay. City Manager's report, Eric.
I have just a couple of items here, Mayor. First, as council is aware, there's several city events that the city holds that the American Legion as well as the VFW Post partner. They request temporary liquor permits to assist with those events. They receive those from the state of Ohio. From the city, they ask for an allowance in order to be able to serve adult beverages both on the downtown plaza as well as this campus for those events such as Red Rhythm Boom. Profits from those sales are divided between the respective Legion and Post as well as the Mason Parks Foundation. It'd be appropriate for council to pass a motion to approve the sale of alcohol at those venues for events organized throughout 2025.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Any opposed?
Next, just a reminder for the community, today was the end of nominations that the Warren County Convention Visitors Bureau accepts for unique businesses, attractions, and other types of offerings throughout Warren County. The city is encouraging folks to participate in that by going online at ohioslargestplayground.com and voting for their favorite Mason business or experience so that a spotlight can be shown on some of the amenities that the business community in Mason provides throughout the county. Voting begins today and finishes by March 5th. So encouraging folks to go to ohioslargestplayground.com. A reminder that Mason taxes are due on April 15th. For residents' convenience, the city offers online tax filing, which is growing in popularity, but as well as phone assistance, in-person, drop-off filing preparations. The city's tax department attempts to be extremely helpful. We'll help people walk through their taxes. We'll sit down and meet with them to answer any questions and help them meet that obligation. And then next Monday, February 17th, city offices will be closed in observance of President's Day. The community center will be open, and the Mason Municipal Aquatic Center will also be open normal hours. Next, Mayor, I have a couple of liquor permits. First is for Mercy Wines, LLC. It's a D2, which is wine and certain prepackaged mixed drinks for on-premises consumption and in sealed containers for carryout until 1 a.m. Council can request a hearing or not request a hearing and do that via motion.
Okay, do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion not to request a hearing. Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed?
The next permit is American Hospitality Management, Inc., doing business as Courtyard by Marriott. It is a D5A and a D6, which is spirituous liquor for on-premises consumption only, beer and wine for on-premises and off-premises in original sealed containers until 2:30 a.m. And a D6 is sale of intoxicating liquor on Sunday between the hours of 1 p.m. and midnight. And again, council can request a hearing or not request a hearing via motion.
I'll make a motion to not request a hearing.
Okay.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed?
And that's all I have, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, now it is time for recognition of visitors. Is there anyone here who would like to speak at the podium? Okay. You can go ahead. If you could just state your name and your address, and we do have a 4-minute limit.
Good evening, Mayor Nelson, members of council. My name is Christian Mays. My address is 3834 Ruby Drive, Franklin. I am the chairman of the Warren County Republican Party, as well as the Republican State Central Committeeman for Senate District 7. That means I represent nearly 70% of the registered voters here in the county. It's come to our attention that Ordinance 2025-11 involves zoning code updates that will determine if medical and recreational marijuana dispensaries and other marijuana business facilities will be permitted in Mason. Now, we live in a very exciting time in which the American people have overwhelmingly voted to return to normal, to return to the conservative values that this country was founded upon. Here in Ohio, we've elected a president, a vice president, and a senator that reflect those values. And now more than ever, it's incumbent upon local government to send the right message about the societal costs of marijuana legalization. In addition to the titles I just mentioned above, the one I hold most dear is pastor. As a shepherd ordained by God to look after his flock, I've spent years working with families that have suffered real damage due to the costs of drugs, alcohol, and pornography, all three of which are snares for anyone that happen to step into their path. I've seen homes, families, individuals destroyed by what was introduced as a harmless diversion, just as marijuana is today. As you know from Mason's January 2018 public hearing on this topic, marijuana-related zoning is a subject of great public interest. It is certain to be of even greater interest now that it includes zoning decisions related to recreational marijuana. We're concerned about the description of Ordinance 2025-11 that's listed on the council meeting agenda because it's oblique and it does not refer to medical or recreational marijuana. While council might have met the minimum legal requirement for transparency, the agenda lacks specificity. This would inform the public of what is being addressed so that they may provide feedback. At this point, no one can access the legislation and related documents and memos to see what's proposed. Most constituents do not even know how to look for it or ask for it, even though the agenda is listed. The required March 10 public hearing provides an opportunity to give public feedback. But if the public has no meaningful way to understand from the agenda that marijuana zoning is involved, they may not appreciate the opportunity that they've been given to provide input to council. Please, service with excellence and increase transparency by adhering to the following 4 requests. Tonight, I'm asking you to please publicly commit to voting down the current omnibus package proposed in Ordinance 2025-11. I'm also asking you to please pass a motion to amend the agenda description for Ordinance 2025-11 to ensure that it and any future items related to marijuana zoning or Ordinance 2025-11 clearly state that they are covering and/or include zoning matters that involve marijuana activity in businesses. I'm also asking you to please commit to pass a rule to require council always brings forth separate pieces of legislation for zoning matters, especially those involving sexually oriented businesses, marijuana activity, businesses of any type in Mason, with those topics clearly identified in the agenda description and ordinance title. And lastly, I'm asking you to please always vote to ban marijuana businesses from locating in Mason. Restrict sexually oriented businesses as much as legally possible in Ohio. I'm asking you to choose wisely. I'm asking you to choose the will of the people. Thank you.
Thank you. I was incorrect. It's 5 minutes, not 4.
Oh,
I apologize.
well, I won't be that lengthy. My name is Janice Roeder, and my address is 2706 Ivy Farm Court in Mason, Ohio, so I am a Mason resident. And so, Mayor and council, city council members, I'm here tonight as I've been made aware also that there is a zoning change regarding, that pertains to medical and adult use recreational dispensaries in Mason. I have written a formal letter to the council, and I'm here in person to ask that the city council consider and enact an ordinance prohibiting the establishment and operation of both medical and adult use recreational marijuana dispensaries within the city of Mason, Ohio. As our community continues to prioritize safety,
family values, economic development, it is essential that we remain proactive in ensuring that businesses operating within our city align with the long-term well-being of our residents and the image of our great city. While some may argue economic benefits of marijuana dispensaries, the potential negative consequences far outweigh any financial gain in my estimation, and there are other dispensaries within an area so that persons wishing to partake in that are not really unduly inconvenienced. So, while marijuana has been legalized in Ohio under specific regulations, as we recall, Issue 2 of November 2023 specifically preserved local control. The people that voted yes on that should have known that local control was still an option in that issue. Many communities across Ohio have already taken steps to prohibit dispensaries, recognizing the potential harms associated with their presence. By implementing a local ordinance banning both medical and adult use recreational dispensaries, Mason can reaffirm its commitment to protecting public safety, upholding community values, and preserving the high quality of life that our residents expect and deserve. We appreciate your time. Thank you and your dedication for serving the residents of Mason, and I look forward to your leadership on this important issue.
Thank you. If I could just let everyone in the audience know, today we're only having a first reading. The public hearing is actually March 10th. So just to inform everyone, there won't be a vote on it today.
Members of council, mayor, some of you, well, all of you have already received my thoughts on this. David Williams, 3825 Brookhaven Court. So I stand before everyone tonight, and I thank everyone for coming out to voice your, to lend your voices to this issue as well. So I come as a very concerned citizen of Mason. My family moved here because it was such, it is such a family-centered community with great schools, strong neighborhoods, things that is a big draw for our community and things that are the reason why we have such high property values. So I want to address some of the things and add some more context to what I've already shared. That includes, first and foremost, safety and safety for our children. We already have too many DUIs and traffic accidents in the area and around the country. We all know that marijuana impairs cognitive function and reaction time. Since legalization occurred in the states of Colorado, Oregon, and California, they've seen significant increases in DUIs and fatal crashes. That's according to the University of Illinois Chicago School of Public Health. Dispensaries will bring in more people from out of the community, so that means more traffic with people that are going to do DUI. I mean, again, I mentioned at the planning committee that I went over 40 years without ever having smelled marijuana. Now I smell it in so many different locations, including at stoplights, at the gas station, at parking lots. People are using it in their cars. So why make that worse? Dispensaries are also a high target for robberies because they're very cash-heavy business, because people don't want to put on their credit cards that they're going to the marijuana shop. The criminals know that. It's also high-value product, so very high target. But what's worse is the drug dealers. They know that they have the target market at these dispensaries. They say, oh, here's people that are already susceptible to drug use. Here's the vulnerable that I can get to use fentanyl, to use meth, whatever. So the criminal activity, especially with us being in the I-71 and 75 corridor, will go through the roof if this is passed. Before Issue 2 passed, according to the Health Policy Institute of Ohio, Ohio had the 10th lowest rate of teen cannabis use. I wish it was number 1 lowest rate, but it was 10th, still pretty good out of 50 states. However, now that the issue is passed, we're seeing more teen and children taking cannabis. Columbus Dispatch in August had an article about more little kids are getting into marijuana edibles. They're getting it in their homes, they're getting it in their schools, their friends. This isn't just an adult business that affects adults, it affects our children. The Oregon Office of Economic Analysis found that adult marijuana use has more than doubled in Oregon, Washington, and Colorado since legalization there. Worse yet, national surveys on drug use and health said that the youth in these states are trending exactly the same as the adults. It's common sense that greater accessibility, greater availability is going to increase use among adults and children. That's not what we need. In conclusion, dispensaries will damage Mason's family-friendly reputation. And officials at all levels know the problems of marijuana use and how it's so important to protect our children from that. And that's why you have you can't have it 500 feet from a school, from a library, from a church. You know it's bad. Guess what? Our residences, that's where our children live. Our children walk in the business community, in the business districts. They ride their bikes in the business districts. They're not free of children.
Mr. Williams, I apologize. You've reached the end of your allotted
thank you.
time.
Okay, is there anyone else who would like to come to the podium to speak? Okay. We're going to move on to Resolution 2025-5. I need a motion to read by title only.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Any opposed?
Proclaiming February as Heart Health Literacy Month in Mason.
Jennifer?
Yes, Mayor, members of council, 2025 marks the 5th year of Mason's Heart Health Literacy Month. Recognizing Heart Health Literacy Month supports Mason's commitment for building a culture of wellness where residents and employees have a deeper understanding of heart health, but also a broader knowledge about the innovations that are being developed in Mason's BioHub. Each year, during Heart Health Literacy Month, the city partners with Mason-based bio companies such as TriHealth, AHA, AtriCure, and geneticists who are introducing cutting-edge technologies while fostering innovative programs such as the Living Lab. Heart Health Literacy Month kicked off last week with Go Red Day on Friday, February 7th, a national initiative encouraging the population to wear red to generate awareness of the prevalence of heart disease. Community center members were encouraged to bring a friend for free on Friday, February 7th, to engage in heart-healthy activities offered throughout the center. Throughout the rest of the month, the city will be promoting various programs and activities that evolve around heart health, including educational resources. Some of the upcoming activities include on-campus blood drives, one was held today in the parking lot of the community center. Another will be held on February 21st. The fire department is doing CPR as well as AED demonstrations. There's a free community yoga class at the Mason Community Center on Friday, February 22nd. Heart health giveaways are being featured at the community center for our premier members. And the city's employee wellness program has focused on heart health activities as well as education. Tonight's council members were encouraged to wear red in recognition of Heart Health Literacy Month in Mason. With that, Resolution 2025 is recommended for adoption. Happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. I need a motion to suspend the rule and allow for adoption after the first reading.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? I need a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Any council discussion?
Mayor, I would
Yes.
just like to point out that it may not be blatantly obvious. This is red. It's a very deep shade of red, and I'm calling it hemoglobin red for Heart Healthy Month. So I did comply. So
I think Vice Mayor Chance also wanted me to point out that his socks are red, so he did comply.
This is kind of red too, but that's about the only red I have, so.
Okay. Okay, roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Chance,
Yes.
Councilmember Bennett,
Yes.
Councilmember Hackey,
yes.
Councilmember Gibson,
Yes.
Councilmember Stricula,
Yes.
Mayor Nelson,
Yes.
Councilmember Spaeth.
Yes.
Okay, this one is for ordinance 2024-101. It's supposed to be a public hearing, but the application has been withdrawn. Eric, would you like to discuss?
Yes, that about captured, this is a more of a procedural necessity than anything because a public hearing was set back in December before the developer opted to withdraw that application after having met with residents. It's necessary now for council to open the public hearing. I would then close the public hearing. The ordinance for a second reading would then come up, and it'd be appropriate to go ahead and defeat that ordinance as it's no longer necessary. The applicant has chosen a different route. We'll go into Plan Commission for a conditional use permit at the March 4th meeting and can anticipate that a public hearing on this same, on a similar development in this spot will be held at our April meeting. So,
Okay, thank you. Well, just for legal purposes, we're going to go ahead and open the public hearing at 7:22 and then close the public hearing at 7:22. Okay, ordinance 2025, do we still have to? Okay, I'm sorry. We need to do a motion to read by title only.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed?
Amending the zoning code and zoning map of the city of Mason, Ohio to provide for the rezoning of approximately 16 acres from R3 single-family residential to for Res PUD, residential planned unit development, with approval of the concept planned unit development plan located at the southeast corner of Mason Montgomery Road and Tylersville Road, Heritage Presbyterian Church.
Okay. All right, I need a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, roll call.
Councilmember Bennett,
No.
Councilmember Hackey,
No.
Councilmember Gibson,
No.
Councilmember Stricula, Mayor Nelson,
No.
Councilmember Spaeth,
No.
Vice Mayor Chance.
No.
Okay, I know that was kind of strange. All right, ordinance 2025-11, this is the first reading. I need a motion to read by title only.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Jeff?
An ordinance to repeal, amend, and add various sections and chapters of the zoning ordinance and subdivision regulations.
Eric?
this is council's aware, Mason Plan Commission met on February 4th to consider this zoning ordinance update. They reviewed, recommended it, which means it comes to council for a first reading tonight, and then we'd ask you to set the public hearing for March 10th.
Okay, thank you. Ordinance 2025-12, I need a motion to read by title only.
So moved.
All in favor? Any opposed?
Authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Stryker Corporation for the purchase of 8 Physio-Control LifePak 35 cardiac monitoring systems for use by the City of Mason Fire Department, and authorizing the simultaneous trade-in of the current LifePak 15 systems.
Jennifer?
Yes, Mayor, members of council, in 2014, the city of Mason purchased 7 Stryker LifePak 15 cardiac monitors and defibrillators. Each ambulance and frontline fire apparatus is equipped with one of these units. Current devices are 11 years old, well past their projected useful life of 8 years. Technical support for these devices is expected to end soon. For several months, staff have been evaluating cardiac monitors and defibrillators that are on the market. These devices allow EMS providers to evaluate a patient's blood pressure, heart rate, oxygen saturation, and oxygen carbon dioxide exchange. Cardiac monitors also serve as defibrillators to deliver the electric shock therapy necessary to correct an abnormal heart rhythm. In addition, with this equipment, paramedics have the opportunity to complete an EKG in the field, determining critical information about a patient's heart rhythm that is then sent electronically to the hospital. This leads to faster and more efficient care for the patient suffering a heart attack or other cardiac events. The new units will feature the ability for paramedics to view a patient's heart rhythm without stopping CPR and integration with a mechanical CPR Lucas device currently used by EMS staff to perform chest compressions. LifePak 35 has a customizable touchscreen promoting ease of use and faster treatment. Staff can program the city's medical care protocols into the monitor, allowing the ability to provide prompts to paramedics to deliver the appropriate treatment and therapy to patients. The LifePak 35 is 2 pounds lighter than the LifePak 15 and allows for in-vehicle charging of the monitor. These devices provide some of the most significant critical needs for pre-hospital care to patients. The 2025 budget included $400,000 for this purchase. The city will purchase the units through Sourcewell Cooperative Purchasing Program, saving over $2,500 per unit. The purchase includes additional accessories, battery chargers, pads, vehicle mounts, etc. Stryker has offered a trade-in value of $4,000 for each of the LifePak 15 units. 8 LifePaks are needed to equip frontline apparatus and all ambulance and have 1 spare unit on hand for special events and other backup purposes. With that, Ordinance 2025-12 is recommended for adoption. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you. I need a motion to suspend the rule and allow for adoption after the first reading.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? I need a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Any council discussion? Roll call?
Councilmember Hackey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gibson?
Yes.
Councilmember Stricula?
Yes.
Mayor Nelson?
Yes.
Councilmember Spaeth?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chance?
Yes.
Councilmember Bennett?
Yes.
Ordinance 2025-13, I need a motion to read by title only.
So moved.
All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed?
Adopting Chapter 1302 of the Mason Codified Ordinances and amending various other sections regarding a comprehensive property maintenance code.
Okay, Kurt?
Yes, thank you, Mayor and members of council. Currently, staff rely on our codified ordinances, zoning regulations, and the Warren County Health Department's regulations when it comes to issues related to property maintenance. This, along with some of the inconsistent enforcement that we have from the health department, leads to frustration both by the residents maybe making the complaint as well as those that are being complained against. So the Rules Committee over the past year has done a pretty extensive process. We started with reviewing numerous codes from cities from around the state of Ohio. We did a community outreach campaign. If you remember, we mailed postcard to all addresses in the city, so over 11,600 postcards went out to get survey responses. We got a pretty overwhelming response at about 1,900 survey responses during the month of July last year. And then we used Kathy Ryan from Wood and Lamping. She has extensive experience in the property maintenance code, and she's with Jeff's office at Wood and Lamping. Rules Committee met over the course of the year many times. We had 2 work sessions regarding the property maintenance code. We reviewed, the last time was in November, and we did a review with council with some varying opinions and feedback. Kathy Ryan took that feedback, made some changes to it, but then she also developed another draft that's before you tonight, which is basically a consolidation of a lot of the existing regulations that we have both in the codified and the zoning in a new modern format and language. And with that, maybe I'll turn it over to Jeff to explain more detail what the benefits are of that and a little more about that.
Sure.
Code that we have before us.
Sure. Thanks, Kurt. Yeah, essentially, I mean, Kurt pretty much covered it, but one of the things that's being recommended here is to consolidate, rather than have various sections throughout your code, this consolidates them into one place. It gives staff one place where they know to look for the regulations. It also gives the public one place where it's easier for them to find what the requirements are. In addition, it also helps to, what we found as we went through the various sections is that sometimes there were inconsistent enforcement provisions. And so this consolidates it into one place, but it also now provides a more consistent enforcement path for all types of these violations. It provides a uniform enforcement and penalty provision, so it gives, again, both staff and the public a better knowledge of what the process is. I can answer any questions if there are any, but this is the result of that work.
All right. I need a motion to suspend the rule and allow for adoption after the first reading.
So moved.
Second. I need a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Council discussion. I just wanted to say really quickly, I'm sorry. I just want to thank you guys because I know you guys have been working the last year on this and it wasn't easy. So thank you for all the time that you've put into it, and I think you guys did a great job.
Mayor?
Yes.
Thank you. I want to say, just briefly, I don't want to repeat what everyone else has already said. I am the chair of the Rules Committee, and we also have council members, Gibson. I almost forgot your name. Gibson and Bennett served on this. And as they said, we did work on this for really over a year. We did survey the public and tried to do our best, do our due diligence and finding out what the public wanted. And it came down to, we had a really great draft of a property maintenance code, but when our entire council looked at it at a work session, we found out that a lot of our council members thought maybe it was too much. It was government overreach, it was too restrictive, it was too a lot of things. So when we left that evening, I was like, oh gosh, what are we going to do? Because we really need to have a property maintenance code. All of our surrounding municipalities have a section in their ordinances that's called property maintenance code. So I'm not going to take full credit for this because our committee discussed it and we all agreed. But I had asked Eric to see if he could work with Jeff Forbes and also Kathy Ryan, who was mentioned, who is pretty much an expert on property maintenance codes. I said, basically, why can't we just put together everything that we currently have in our ordinances and put it into a property maintenance code and see what that looks like? And she and Jeff did a wonderful job of doing that. They modernized the language, they made it more definable, and they also made the enforcement piece much easier for our staff to be able to carry out. And as Jeff mentioned, that was one of the problems before, because there was different parts in our ordinances, so it was not really clearly defined what the enforcement could be or how to follow through with that. So this, I hope everyone will support this because I think this will give us our basis for, we will have a property maintenance code, and as we go forward, if we figure out that maybe something needs to be changed, then we have something in front of us, we're able to do that. So I hope everyone will support that, and I want to thank the other committee members for all the hard work and all the staff. They did a lot of work on this, and especially Kathy and Jeff. Thank you so much.
Okay, anyone else? Yes.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor. I just want to echo the mayor's thanks to the three of you and all staff and Jeff and his team for all the work done on this. As Councilmember Spaeth mentioned, this in the original form was incredibly overreaching. We recognize, well, I won't speak for myself, I recognize that, you know, this is Mason, we do want to keep the standards, but at the same time, people don't move into an HOA community for a reason. And I also wanted to respect that. So I think the work that you guys did really took that into account and basically took stuff we already have on the books and made it something that that I can get behind. So thank you very much.
Okay. All right, roll call, please.
Councilmember Gibson?
Yes.
Councilmember Stricula?
Yes.
Mayor Nelson?
Yes.
Councilmember Spaeth?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chance?
Yes.
Councilmember Bennett?
Yes.
Councilmember Hackey?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2025-14. I need a motion to read by title only.
So moved.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Amending Section 121.03 of the Mason Codified Ordinances regarding Mason City Council General Code of Conduct.
Eric?
Thank you, Mayor. The Rules Committee in between working on the property maintenance code, also had some work parallel with that, left from about 2 years ago when council made some significant changes and updates to the codified ordinances, establishing a code of conduct for council. And the intent there was to, make sure that council had some standards, best practices, to hold each other accountable to that as outlined in the charter. When that work was completed and adopted by council, one piece that was left and for the Rules Committee to review over the past year was to sharpen up the enforcement provisions of that code of conduct. Now, enforcement of this belongs to council. You set, that code of conduct under what's provided for in the charter, and then you enforce that amongst yourselves. What was generated here and what the amendment before you has is a guideline of actions that council might consider when you may have concerns if another member of council is violating that code or maybe has confusion over the intent of that code. The intent there is to provide a range of options to both maintain goodwill, to explore what any miscommunication or confusion may be there, and then to provide the appropriate intermediate steps and actions needed to help each other be accountable to that code without unduly escalating misunderstandings. That framework is before you here with this amendment. The Rules Committee did review this, comment on this several times, and is recommending adoption of this as an addition to your code of conduct.
Okay, thank you. I need a motion to suspend the rule and allow for adoption after the first reading.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? I need a motion to adopt.
So moved. Second.
Any council discussion?
Mayor,
Yes.
I just want to say, again, this was something our Rules Committee took a look at, and I guess it's almost 2 years ago now, we passed the original Code of Conduct. Our charter only defines some of the things that allow this council to make other council members accountable for what they do. It never gave us a process for actually what that would look like if we actually wanted to put something in motion, if we wanted to remove a council member. And hopefully we will never have to do that. But what we have done here is just added the enforcement piece to the council code of conduct. And it's really very basic things like, hey, why don't we just talk to each other, or why don't we try to see if, we can work it out. And I mean, it does go through some other steps. I'm not going to go through all the other steps, but this does give us an outline for what we can do if in the future there's ever any problems with a council member's behavior that needs to be addressed. And one thing that our law director, Jeff, said during the last time we were considering this is he said, really the best time to put this into place is when you're not really having any problems. And we're not having any problems. This is just something for future councils to be able to look back and use if they ever have any issues where council members may need to be, I don't want to use the word reprimanded, but if there's something that needs to be addressed with their behavior. So thank you.
Okay, any other council discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Councilmember Stricula?
Yes.
Mayor Nelson?
Yes.
Councilmember Spade?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chance?
Yes.
Councilmember Bennett?
Yes.
Councilmember Hackey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gibson?
Yes.
All right, ordinance 2025-15, I need a motion to read by title only.
So moved.
So moved.
All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed?
Authorizing the city manager to execute an easement agreement with the Warren County Board of County Commissioners as part of the Mason-Morrow-Millgrove Shared Use Path and Bridge Replacement Project.
All right, Kurt?
Yes, thank you, Mayor and members of council. This is the bridge that's located between the Mason Sports Park and the Water Reclamation Plant on Mason-Morrow-Millgrove Road. That's actually a Warren County Engineers Office responsibility to replace the bridge. However, we partnered with them to extend a bike path or a shared use path across the bridge. We have successfully, along with Warren County, received $882,000 OPWC grant, and just recently got another $140,000 grant through ODOT, the Office of Jobs and Commerce grant towards the project. After those funding sources, our construction costs, our portion of the bridge will be just over $500,000, which we had budgeted $700,000 in the budget this year. The project is scheduled to begin late May 2025, so just after school is out this year, and we expect it to be done in September of this year. So it'll still be closed probably when school starts, unfortunately, but we are trying to get it done as soon as we can through the summer. Construction does include a closure of Mesa Mara Mill Grove for the construction of that project. And for the 5 months, the detour route will be Columbia Road to Kings Mills 741, back to 42. What this ordinance before you tonight is easement agreement with the Warren County Board of Commissioners. And what it is basically the permanent highway easement that's needed for the construction of the bridge and future maintenance of the bridge. It also allows the utility relocation that's needed in order to construct the bridge. So with that, ordinance 2025-15 is recommended for adoption. I'll answer any questions you might have.
All right, thank you. I need a motion to suspend the rule and allow for adoption after the first reading.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? I need a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Any council discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Mayor Nelson,
Yes.
Councilmember Spaeth,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chance,
Yes.
Councilmember Bennett,
Yes.
Councilmember Hackey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gibson,
Yes.
Councilmember Stricula.
Yes.
Ordinance 2025-16, I need a motion to read by title only, please.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed?
An ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a farm lease agreement for 2025 through 2029.
Kurt?
Yes, thank you, Mayor and members of council. The farm lease is something that we've done for 3-year periods. This year, we decided to try to do it for a 5-year period. We had 4 local farmers that were interested in farming, and we have 7 tracts of land currently that are suitable for farming. We got pricing on 6 of them. The 7th one is essentially at no cost to the farmer, and asking them to farm the property at the corner of Mason Montgomery and Veterans Parkway. That was formerly not farmland, and it's going to take a little bit for the farmer to convert it to be suitable for farming. And so our interest is just to get the CAUV status to lower our carrying costs for that land and also allow the land to be utilized by the local farmers. We do have the right to terminate the contract at any time, so if we do have an interested party in any of these properties for economic development project or otherwise, we can terminate the contract for that portion of the land. This year, Lutmer Farms LLC submitted the highest bid, and it's kind of weird to do the highest bid on a project. I'm so used to doing lowest bid, but this one we actually took the highest bid. Total amount was $63,900 per year. And again, that's for a 5-year lease. It could be extended for another 5 years, and that is for all 7 of the tracts. So with that, ordinance 2025-16 authorizes the city manager to sign the lease and is recommended for adoption.
Okay, thank you. I need a motion to suspend the rule and allow for adoption after the first reading.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? I need a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Council discussion? I have a question. So originally, we have it at 3 years, but then we're changing it to 5.
Yes.
So the only concern I have with that is that if we do have to utilize any of that acreage for any businesses that want to come in,
Right.
then we have to pay $700 an acre. Is it 7 or 7?
Yeah, 700, yeah. And that's been in the previous contracts, and that's really only if they have crops in the field that would be damaged. So if we can, a lot of times when we have an economic development project, we know that it's forthcoming, and so we can potentially have him not plant that part of the field, or we can wait till after he harvests, or he or she harvests to take over that land and for whatever the economic development needs to avoid that $700 cost. And that
Okay,
allows-
because I'm just wondering why we would move it from 3 to 5 years, because it would take 2.5 years to break even in the event that, within that time period, we would end up having to
Yeah.
pay them back.
The 700 is just for the acreage that would be needed. So we wouldn't have a 236-acre development all at once. So generally, it would be maybe a 10-acre tract, and so, it wouldn't be out of the question to just pay for the portion of crops that's damaged or just wait until they harvest the fields. So the other thing is it does allow, there is some investment. The farmer will typically, areas of the field that are low and maybe hold water, they'll at their own cost put some drainage tiles and things like that in. Plus, if they know they have it for a little bit longer period, they'll rotate crops and they'll add additional, depending on the crop that they do, it has more input costs, which can pay dividends maybe the following year or 2 years later, depending on if they have to add nitrogen to the soil, things like that. So having a longer period, we felt would allow for better bids and some more contiguity there. But we could wait 1 year. If we're not happy with the farmer, we could rebid next year as well, too. So we have options.
Mayor, I might add, it's also true that if it's the type of economic development opportunities we'd anticipate, those type of costs, the timeframes, the costs could be folded into that deal, and the type of opportunities we would appreciate would more than offset those type of costs.
Sure. Okay, that makes sense. Thank you for clarifying. Okay, any other council discussion?
Yeah, Mayor. Real quick, with the being able to convert that to the CAUV property tax, did we come up with an actual dollar figure on what that saving is? I know you said we're going to incur some cost with the debris removal, but being able to lower that, is that 30, 35%? Is that typically what it is?
Yeah, it's probably a 90% savings, I would say. Yeah, it's pretty substantial, and I think it would pay for itself in a year, maybe 2 years. Yeah, yeah.
Okay, good.
On that project, that property itself, yeah.
All right, good job, guys. All right, any other council discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Vice Mayor Chance?
Yes.
Councilmember Bennett?
Yes.
Councilmember Hackey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gibson?
Yes.
Councilmember Stricula?
Yes.
Mayor Nelson?
Yes.
Councilmember Spaeth?
Yes.
Ordinance 2025-17, I need motion to read by title only.
So moved?
Second?
All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed?
Authorizing execution of a construction and maintenance agreement with the Indiana and Ohio Railway Company for the Snyder Road widening Phase 2 improvements.
Kurt?
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council. This is the Snyder Road project, Phase 2, is from US 42 down to West Monroe Road along Snyder. That'll be widened to 3 lanes, and that project will go, it'll butt on both sides of the crossing, the Snyder Road Railroad crossing. And because we would be working in the railroad right-of-way, they require coordination with their contractor, their engineer, to review those plans and make sure that it will coordinate with the railroad right-of-way, and then they coordinate the construction as well for, they have to have a flagger. Anytime our contractor's working in railroad right-of-way, they have a flagger on site to make sure that a train doesn't come through while they're running a piece of equipment across the tracks or things like that. So for that coordination, they've estimated $66,229, which is what the ordinance before you is for. We don't expect, based on past projects, it to be to utilize all those funds, but that's what we're required to do in the agreement to move forward with the railroad. And then separately in the write-up, there was updates on both the Snyder Road crossing itself. That'll be upgraded to a tub-type crossing, which is like what we have now at 42 and Tylersville intersection. That we expect to occur either late this year or more than likely early 2026. And then the Western Road crossing, just since it's down in that area as well, that project is also on track to get upgraded to a tub-type crossing. And that may actually be on schedule to replace this year, I would say late this year as well. So if you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer them, but ordinance 2025-17 is recommended for adoption.
Okay, need a motion to suspend the rule and allow for adoption after the first reading.
So moved. Second?
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? I need a motion to adopt.
So moved. Second?
Council discussion?
Question? Just wondering, I know when we did the railroad improvement across Tylersville, there was coordination with the school schedule. Is there any, it sounds like that's not as complicated with these two on Western Row and Snyder, given the timeframes you're talking about, that the construction will happen most likely during the school year?
Yeah, it depends on the timing, it could be just as complicated, yeah, because they always require a solid piece of rail across the roadway, so it'll be a full closure of that road. The detour isn't nearly as bad as what Tylersville 42 was, so that's the only good thing, but it will be complicated, could be during school, but we'll try to minimize impacts as much as possible once we have a better handle on the timing.
Well, it's much needed, so I'm glad to
Yeah.
be moving on it.
Okay, any other council discussion? Roll call?
Councilmember Bennett?
Yes.
Councilmember Hackey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gibson?
Yes.
Councilmember Stricula?
Yes.
Mayor Nelson?
Yes.
Councilmember Spaeth?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chance?
Yes.
Okay, ordinance 2025-18. I need a motion to read by title only.
So moved?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed?
Authorizing the city manager to engage the Mason Symphony Orchestra for the performance of an additional free outdoor community concert in 2025 in an amount not to exceed $50,000.
Eric?
Thank you, Mayor. As council is aware, this will be the third year of the city partnering with the Mason Symphony Orchestra to offer orchestra performances for the community to enjoy. At our December 16th council meeting, council authorized ordinance authorizing a partnership agreement with the Symphony Orchestra for 3 concert performances throughout the course of 2025. That replicates the financial model that the city has been using with MSO since 2023. The Arts and Culture Committee of Council met just over a week ago and discussed at that meeting continuing the free outdoor performance for the public that had previously been authorized for 2 years with the Symphony Orchestra. So the committee recommended presenting legislation today at a not-to-exceed amount of $50,000 to the Symphony Orchestra in order to continue to offer that outdoor concert. And that is what is accomplished with the adoption of ordinance 2025-18.
Okay, I need a motion to suspend the rule and allow for adoption after the first reading.
So moved?
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Yes.
Any opposed? I need a motion to adopt.
So moved?
Second.
Okay, it's council discussion, but I have a couple of things I want to say real quick. So the money that was authorized from the Finance Committee, that was for the season, for the Mason Symphony Orchestra season. This particular concert is the city asking them to perform a free concert for the community. We've been really good. The city has been great lately in the last couple years in motivating individuals to come out and to gather together. This is part of the Music and Mason program, as well as the Red Rhythm and Boom. It's part of our summer series. So this is why we're not asking for an additional concert within the Mason Symphony Orchestra season. This is separate. The Arts Committee is fairly new, Arts and Cultural Committee, and we have worked really hard to bring more arts to the community, and I think we're doing a phenomenal job. And this is one of the things that we are trying to build. This will be the 4th year of the outdoor concert. The first year was the Southwest Philharmonic, and then the last 2 years were the Mason Symphony Orchestra. So it's been really popular because this particular performance allows for families and children to go. I mean, not that they can't go to the Mason Symphony Orchestra, but it tends to be, not as family-oriented as the summer concert. In the prior years, there's been like a Star Wars theme, and the kids are running around dancing, and they've got their beam swords or whatever they're called.
Lightsabers.
Lightsabers. Okay, I've never seen it, so I don't know. But it's a really good concert, and it's a free concert to the public, so nobody has to worry about paying for it. And I just really like it because it is family, and it's been very successful. And the longer we do it, the more the public is catching on to it, the more people that come to it. So it's really just part of our summer fun that we do. And it would be in August after the Music in Mason has stopped, and so we'll give the public something to do on a Friday. So that is my spiel. Does anybody else have any council discussion? Yes, Councilmember Hackey.
Thank you, Mayor. Beyond what you've said, one of the benefits of doing this is, I actually did some research and looked at a couple of studies regarding outdoor concerts and the benefits to the community. I just want to read a couple of things I found. This is a report by Oxford Economics, and it says, beyond its important cultural contributions, the concert and live entertainment industry generates massive economic upside, supporting the livelihoods of millions of people in the U.S. and sustaining public services, and they talk about some numbers. Live events also contribute to the overall quality of life in a region that helps to attract and retain businesses and talent, and helps to create the sense of community so many crave, and this report was done in 2020, so it says that so many crave after a year of isolation caused by COVID. Live events and music festivals also sow the fabric of communities, bringing diverse demographics together to experience the many facets of unique cultures. And like the mayor said, this is becoming more and more popular. We had the privilege of attending the event at Great Wolf over the weekend for the first of the indoor concert series by the Mason Symphony Orchestra. And they just, more and more people are showing up to these. It's bringing the community together. And this outdoor concert, like the mayor mentioned, is a little broader because it's outdoor, because they're theming those more towards families. It's just a great family event. So I think this is a great way to bring our community together and also provide some boost to the benefits of with our economic development. So I am very much in favor of this. So, thank you.
Mayor?
Yes.
As everyone said, we've been funding the Mason Symphony Orchestra now for a couple years, and it was my understanding that the idea was that hopefully they would be able to become more self-sufficient and be able to do some fundraising on their own so that we're not completely funding them all the way. And I know about this time last year, we had the same situation where we had already voted and agreed on the 3 concerts, and it was brought up that they wanted to have another concert in the summer. And I know for me personally, last year, I only agreed to that because I said I was really concerned that we're not helping the Mason Symphony Orchestra by not encouraging them to do, well, I know they're trying to do the fundraising, but they need to be able to show us that they are able to raise funds. And so last year I did agree to another concert on the basis that they would meet with our finance committee and talk about what the plan is, their business plan for moving forward. And I understand that that did happen, and I understand that our finance committee actually compromised, and I think originally they only wanted to fund 2.5 concerts, and then they agreed to 3 concerts. And with the expectation that in moving in 2026, I think it was, that there would be a 1-to-1 match. So that's what we all voted on in December. We agreed upon that. There would be 3 concerts, and they would start with this 1-to-1 match in 2026. So I think it's we need to honor what the Finance Committee recommended, and that's what I'm going to go with. So I'm not going to be supporting this evening.
Yeah, Mayor. I'm on the Finance Committee meeting, and as you guys alluded to, we have been, I think, extremely supportive of the arts, especially the Mason Symphony Orchestra. And, you know, for me, I think it's a little disingenuous, and I think it potentially could be more harmful to the Mason Symphony Orchestra if we're not, I would rather come alongside them and assist on, and I think that's the role of us, but it's really on them to figure out a way to become more self-sufficient. This year we passed, you know, a substantial amount of money to fund those 3 concerts. And so just doing a little research also and looking at the Cincinnati Symphony Orchestra and how they're funded, and their budget is a little bigger than ours, but it's $67 million. And 14% of that comes through contributions. 61% is concert revenues, other earned revenue is 12%, and I'm guessing they have some sort of endowment because their investment is producing about 13% of their funding. So what I would encourage the arts, and and Culture Committee and I know Councilmember Hackey mentioned a few different things that they're working on, is to come alongside them and figure out a way to assist them with offsetting some of their expenses and their costs, because the product that they do put out is absolutely incredible. They're really good. But I think it's going to we got to figure out a time, and I think, when we were in the Finance Committee, we just agreed that, well, let's do the 3 and then come alongside and try to assist. So I'm not going to support this tonight just because I think it's again, a little disingenuous because how we handle all the other kind of organization nonprofits in the community. It's more of a partnership and is more of that one-to-one, and I really want to see us get to there because I think for them to grow and for them to thrive and them to continue to do more than 3 concerts is they're going to have to figure out a way to, to come alongside us and truly partner. So I think that's just where I stand, and that's what my encouragement would be to the Arts and Culture Committee is to help assist with that in any way that we could.
Okay, yes.
Mayor, yeah, I don't want to repeat a lot of what's said, but I will reiterate, I think that the orchestra does a phenomenal job. I think they put out, like Vice Mayor said, a phenomenal product. And we did talk about this, I think, at length in the Finance Committee. The amount of funds that were going to it, it continued to go up year after year with very little coming from outside sources except for just the city. And that was the concern, and we saw it last year was a concern of mine that the costs continued to go up based on just paying for the orchestra itself, paying for the location where the orchestra was going, and then adding yet another concert on top of it. And so that's where the impetus came for us to even have a discussion about it. And we did. We said, look, we'll do 2.5 concerts, let them start to raise some funds, and then understand the difficulty of promoting that 3rd concert. We said, look, yeah, we'll go ahead and just recommend doing all 3 concerts for the year. So I'm not inclined to do this one either. I think if the outdoor concert is a goal, one of the 3 concerts that we've already paid for should be something that they do. Again, I don't think anybody is discouraging or disregarding, again, the type of product that they put out there. I think it's phenomenal. It's just how much weight we put on the taxpayers to pay for it is the question. So, unfortunately, I'm not in favor of this either for tonight.
Okay, if I could just say one more thing. We're the ones who got them to start it. The Mason Symphony Orchestra wasn't around. I mean, we just basically got them to start it, and if we don't, it's going to take a while for them to get their feet off the ground, and if we don't support them, they're not going to survive, and I think that would be sad for our community. I think we do have a more upscale community, and being able to say that we have our own orchestra is, I think, pretty phenomenal, and it's going to cost money, but we spent over $4 million last year on the golf course. And, we spent $100,000 on, music this year for the symphony. I just don't think it's that big of an ask, but I understand where you're coming from. All right, any other council discussion?
We are, that's the Finance Committee, we are supporting them. We're supporting 3 concerts, so I don't want to act as if we're not supporting them because, it was a lengthy discussion. We went back and forth for quite some time about and the cost has been increasingly going up, and we decided to support that. So, again, I don't want to get it misconstrued that we're not supporting them because we are. It's just, I think again, we just need to figure out a path. And like I said, Councilmember Hackey has some good things in the work to help them. And I think and I love having a Mason Symphony Orchestra. I think it is, it fits our community and fits the needs of our community. But again, we are supporting them, and to the sum of $105,000. So.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? No. All right. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Hackey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gibson?
No.
Councilmember Stricula?
No.
Mayor Nelson?
Yes.
Councilmember Spaeth?
No.
Vice Mayor Chance?
No.
Councilmember Bennett?
Yes.
Okay. Ordinance 2025-19. I need a motion to read by title only.
So moved?
Moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed?
declaring certain city equipment and property as surplus property and authorizing the city manager to dispose of said equipment and property.
Okay, Jennifer?
Yes, Mayor, members of council, this is a housekeeping item. Periodically throughout the year, the city will have items that are in need of surplus. Generally, these items include vehicles and equipment that have reached the end of their useful life and have very little remaining value. Once council declares item surplus, the city then is authorized to dispose of the item, auction it, trade it in, or donate these items. The city uses our online auction center for this, which helps us secure any remaining value for these vehicles or equipment. Recently, the Village of Baltimore, Ohio contacted the city about a 2014 police K-9 cruiser that is included in this surplus ordinance tonight. The village recently acquired a K-9 unit from a neighboring jurisdiction, but does not have a vehicle to transport the K-9. The city's vehicle has been experiencing some issues with the charging system, as well as being just nearing the end of its useful life as part of our fleet. The Village of Baltimore has been made aware and is prepared to make needed repairs to this K-9 unit vehicle. Other items included in the legislation include a 1983 backhoe, a 1993 tractor, 2006 Ford F-350, a 2004 Ford F-150, and other items with a value of less than $1,000. With that, ordinance 2025-19 is recommended for adoption. I'm happy to answer any questions.
I need a motion to suspend the rule and allow for adoption after the first reading.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? I need a motion to adopt.
So moved. Second.
Council discussion? All right, roll call, please.
Councilmember Gibson?
Yes.
Councilmember Stricula?
Yes.
Mayor Nelson?
Yes.
Councilmember Spaeth?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chance?
Yes.
Councilmember Bennett?
Yes.
Councilmember Hackey?
Yes.
Ordinance 2025-20. I need a motion to read by title only.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed?
Authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Warren County Engineers Office for the purchase of rock salt.
Jennifer?
Mayor, members of council, I feel like this is really early this year. Usually it's like June or July when we're doing this, and we can, talk about how, the cold weather's over with, and here we are in the midst of it. But historically, the city has participated in the Southwest Ohio Purchasers for Government, or SWAP for G program, along with the Warren County Cooperative Agreement for Rock Salt as an additional option for obtaining rock salt at the lowest price possible. Historically, participating in these two separate contracts provides us not only a cost savings, but helps us ensure salt availability should any shortage occur. The legislation before you tonight simply authorizes the city to participate in the Warren County's Cooperative Agreement Program for the 2025-2026 season, not this season. Warren County Engineers Office is requesting a formal commitment from each jurisdiction for their participation in the program. Generally, the city averages 15 snow and ice events on average per year and uses 5,500 to 6,000 tons of salt to combat the storms. This year, the 2024-2025 season so far, we've had 8 snow and ice events, which resulted in the use of approximately 2,500 tons of salt to respond to these events. The city does have plenty of salt on hand in the storage facility for future years, and will end the season by refilling to full capacity. After bids are received, Warren County Engineers Office will be asking for legislation to be presented to council for the actual purchase of salt that likely will be later this summer. With that, ordinance 2025-20 is recommended for adoption, and I'm hoping I didn't curse us.
All right, I need a motion to suspend the rule and allow for adoption after the first reading.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? I need a motion to adopt.
So moved.
Second.
Any council discussion? Roll call?
Councilmember Stricula?
Yes.
Mayor Nelson?
Yes.
Councilmember Spaeth?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chance?
Yes.
Councilmember Bennett?
Yes.
Councilmember Hackey?
Yes.
Councilmember Gibson?
Yes.
Ordinance 2025-21. I need a motion to read by title only.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed?
authorizing the city manager to execute various easements and lease agreements with public utilities and service providers for the development of the Cincinnati Open Tennis Campus.
Eric?
Thank you, Mayor. This ordinance is largely housekeeping, but I think it is more significant as it's indicative of the ongoing support as well as the work that the city is undertaking to maintain tennis, its global presence within the city of Mason. What is before you, since now the city of Mason is the owner of the property where the tennis stadium and the tennis redevelopment is going on, and there are a number of easement requests from public utility providers in order to assist BMOC with building out the final product there at the tennis tournament. The city's in the position of needing to grant those easements, which typically come before council. What ordinance 2025-21 does, it allows the city manager to execute on those easements, a group of easements, in order to not delay the work going on with utility providers at the tennis tournament. So what we're asking from council is adoption of this ordinance, which would allow me to move forward as those easements come about to make sure that the work that the utility providers do to further the tennis tournament can proceed without delay. It is recommended for adoption.
I need a motion to suspend the rule and allow for adoption after the first reading.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? All right, I need a motion to adopt.
So, second.
Any council discussion? Roll call?
Mayor Nelson,
Yes.
Councilmember Spaeth,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Chance,
Yes.
Councilmember Bennett,
Yes.
Councilmember Hackey,
Yes.
Councilmember Gibson,
Yes.
Councilmember Stricula.
Yes.
Okay, now it's time for committee reports. Does anyone have a committee report that they'd like to talk about? Yes.
Thanks, Mayor. Downtown Committee met last week? No. Yes. At some point since our last meeting. I think it was the week before. Yeah. A lot of activity going on. Members of that committee are myself as the chair, the mayor, and the vice mayor. We had members from the Mason Deerfield Community Development Corporation come and give us some updates. Let's see. So they informed us that the quarterly meetups with the interested parties, which are business owners, property owners, and residents, will resume. And I believe I saw that one is scheduled for later this month. The RFP, request for proposal for the Mason Mile Master Plan, has been or is in the process of being completed so that they can get somebody to come in and work on that. They are working with a company called Randall Gross, where did it go? Randall Gross Development Economics, and also with Keith Covington of the Common Ground Urban Development and Planning. So they are helping advise on the master plan process to get that completed. Let's see, guidelines are being finalized between the city and the MAID CDC staff on how to work cooperatively together, and that is ongoing. The Market on the Mile will resume this summer with a total of 8 market events. They'll take place every other week. The final schedule is nearly complete, and they are also finalizing plans to include the Children's Entrepreneurship Market, and that will take place on August 1st. East Maine Music Festival, which was a big hit late last summer, will repeat this year. They're finalizing dates for that, but expect that at the end of September or early October. Let's see, the Mason Mile Rocks program is underway. This is a community effort being led by Helen Fox and Peg Elfers, and what they are doing is bringing community members together to paint rocks, kindness type rocks, and then those will be distributed throughout the mile to help enhance the beauty and appearance of the mile. Mr. Seiler updated us on progress to add a bike path as well as improvements on US 42 from 741 to Heritage Oak Park. I'm looking at him to make sure I don't say anything out of turn here. I believe funding and planning is to be complete this year with construction next year, correct? Possibly, hopefully. 27. That keeps getting moved. All right. We'll confirm those dates.
I'll see about getting that advanced for you.
If we can get that done this year, that would be great.
That's
All
up to Kurt.
Let's see. And then, just real quick, I wanted to update you guys on something that I had brought up with Mr. Hanson, and then also brought up in the committee meeting. As many of you know, I'm in the Kiwanis Club in Mason, and our governor of Kiwanis for the state of Ohio has a project. Every Kiwanis governor has a project for their year as the governor, and hers is pollinators. So what I have asked, they have a program where you can become declared a bee city and basically encourage pollinator gardens throughout the city. And I would like to see if there's a way that we can do that. So it's not just specifically to the downtown, but the downtown could benefit from it. I think kids running through the downtown area with bees flying around would be pretty exciting. That was a joke. But it's important. We need pollinators. We need those to sustain life because they are the ones who help keep our gardens growing and our food crops pollinated. So anyway, more to come on that. And I believe that is all I have for that committee. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else?
Mayor, our safety committee met just right before this council meeting, and we have, that consists of me and also council members Gibson and Stricula. And we had Chief Brummagem and Chief Shaw came and talked to us a little bit about the history of the fire department and then what their most recent work has been in relation to that. And also mentioned back in March of 2023, they brought together some community stakeholders to find out what everyone was interested in and what they expected from the fire department. And they came up with their strategic plan from that. And so the number one thing that came from that was the response times. That's what the people on this, the community stakeholders in this group said was the most important thing to them was the response times. And so the fire department has been looking at that to figure out how they can improve their response times. And so talked a little bit about the recommended path forward, and without getting into too many details, because we did go into executive session, the fire department is looking at a 3-station model and how that can be accomplished over the next, I don't know, what, 5 to 50 years? No, not that long, over the next 5 years. So that's where we are with the fire department.
Okay. Yes.
The Public Services Committee met, and I'm the chair of that, and I'm joined by Scott Gibson and Vice Mayor Chance. We reviewed a traffic study on the impact of completing the Phelan Road Foxfield extension. We were looking at school-related traffic, so the study focused on the time frame from 7 to 8 a.m. and 2 to 3 p.m., which are those peak times for school release and traffic on Mason, Montgomery, and Tylersville. We had TEC do the analysis, and it did show a decrease in both the number of cars going through and the time it takes to proceed through the area. We talked about the cost for the design, which would include engineering design. The actual construction includes road, bike path, sidewalks, walls, landscaping, and streetlights. And there's ROI that are both tangible in the reduced traffic and also intangible, such as improved access for police, fire, and EMS to that school campus area, improved flow during other kinds of events. We often have, we have special city events like Red Rhythm and Boom. The school and the city often have multiple events happening throughout the area at the same time, especially with the new swimming pool, competition pool, and many, many people coming back there at the same time that sometimes school is in session or there are other events. This would allow for improved flow of traffic and better safety. So we are exploring the possibility of getting some design work done to see what it might look like to complete this project. We'll meet again in a couple of months and we'll see where we are there.
All right, great, thank you. Yes.
Mayor, thank you. Just a quick reminder for the Veterans Board, which Vice Mayor Chance and Councilmember Hackey are on as well. On April 5th, we will be having a welcome home parade and ceremony for our Vietnam veterans. It is the anniversary of the ending of the Vietnam War, so we're hoping to give them the welcome home that they never got then. So April 5th right now, but stay tuned for more information on that as it comes out. It'll be right here on our campus here, so April 5th. Thanks.
I like that. That's great. All right. We had a small business committee meeting, and as you know, this is a very new committee that we created to make sure that we were focusing on the small businesses within our community, trying to get them to invest in Mason, and once they're here, trying to keep them. So a letter actually is going out to the small businesses, just kind of saying, basically, we really appreciate you, and you know, whatever we can do to help you, we want to do. Also, we launched a link on our website that's supposed to help with some small business questions. The Warren County Small Business Development Center came and gave us an update, and for every dollar that the city has invested into the SBDC, $295 was reinvested into the city. So that's a great ROI for the city. So we're happy about that. The Warren County SPDC hosts free classes for small businesses, and if anybody is interested, you can go to the website at warrencountysbdc.org to check out the list and the dates that they're available. And we discussed the removal of the overlay district for zoning purposes and to help eliminate the burden for small businesses who have to continuously come before the Planning Commission for everything that they want to do. So we're waiting on that, I guess, with all the other zoning that's going to be changed. The Youth Council, so I'm very proud of the Youth Council, actually. This is something that's new that I've been working with to help develop basic youth leaders. So hopefully one day they can become council members. But they've created a youth council at the high school, and they have different subcommittees that mimic our committees. And they're working on different action items that they do plan on communicating with the different committees. So if you get any emails from them, that's what it's about. But one gentleman who's the chair of their Economic Development Committee, they are trying to locate a small business within the community that needs some help, and they're offering free marketing, free website, and basically just free help in any way that they can offer it. So they're working right now with the Mason-Deerfield Chamber to locate a company. So if anybody has any interest in it or knows anyone who has an interest, have them contact the Mason-Deerfield Chamber to get an application. So that is really exciting that and it's all free. They're willing to do it for free. So that's great. And all right, that's all for the small business. For the arts, the small business and arts, the council members are Councilmember Bennett and Councilmember Hackey are on both of those. We talked about the different ways to continue to bring summer fun to the city, hence the concert that we had just proposed. We also talked about different grants that the Arts Wave, some of our arts community has signed up for the grants, which is wonderful. We also talked about we are really trying to push for an arts park, something totally different than any of the parks we have here. It will be a park that has all walking paths and bike paths. There's no swing sets, there's no ball fields. It's simply just like a meditation area, lots of trees and flowers and different shrubberies, maybe, shaped as like an elephant or something different. And it's just basically for walking and just to feel, I guess, part of the earth. And maybe a section having different art sculptures in it. It's so new. I mean, we haven't really gotten anywhere with this, but Yard and Company is going to kind of just propose a quick little drawing of possibly where the biking paths and walking paths can go. Our goal is to have the public be have major input into this, and to eventually have committees create it where the public is giving their input and helping design it. So, like I said, we're very much in the early stages, and it's going to take years to do, but it's good to just get it started and off the ground. And I think that is it. I was going to go over the rock painting Mark did that. Market on the Mile, Mark covered as well. June 13th, June 27th, July 18th, August 1st, August 15th, September 5th, and September 19th is the Market on the Mile. So there'll be more information on our website. And of course, the East Main Music Festival they're talking about. It was a huge success last year, and they're going to be bringing it back this year, but the details are not finalized quite yet. They should be soon. All right, before I move on, is everybody good with the committee reports? Okay, I'm going to move on to old and new business, and I have a couple things. Recently, the Budget Office of the White House ordered federal agencies to temporarily pause all activities relating to the disbursement of all federal financial assistance. And I guess there was some confusion and some misunderstanding over the order, and the memorandum was actually rescinded by the administrator a couple days later. But although the order was rescinded, local government's ability to regularly access some of the grant funding that they were awarded to them remains uncertain, and this could become a problem for certain localities because they're depending on these federal fundings to do these projects, and it's given in certain increments, and so a project could be started, and if they're not getting the federal funding, it could pause the project for God knows how long. And so it is an issue. I asked Kurt, but I left you a message. It was too late in the game, though, for you to probably respond today. But I was just wondering if that was impacting Mason at all, because I know we do have some federal grant money out there.
Yeah, the one grant it's impacting is the SS4A, the Safe Streets for All grant. We did get an email, I think either Friday or today, from the federal government that we're dealing with that said they're currently on a freeze and don't have any further information. So that's the one grant that it's impacted. The other grants, the other one that it could impact is Mason, Montgomery, and Tylersville. We do have some right-of-way acquisition that we had budgeted for this year, and the federal reimbursement comes through OKI for that. So those are the two that we're aware of.
Okay, I'm sure that one's a pretty substantial. Okay, well, keep us posted if you would. All right. Governor DeWine proposed his fiscal year 2026 and 2027 state operating budget last week, and the House begins hearings on it, I believe, tomorrow. From the local government standpoint, the budget proposes local government fund increase from 1.7% up to 1.75% of the state's general revenues, so that's good for our city. They are proposing a higher taxes related to cannabis, tobacco, and sport gaming to pay for various programs. This would increase sales tax on recreational marijuana from its current rate of 10% to 20%. Currently, host communities receive a portion of the 10%. So currently, communities who have dispensaries receive 37% of the 10% tax. So if the tax increased to 20%, a host community could get 7.4% from the sales tax standpoint. This doesn't include the earnings tax or the payroll tax. The budget also expands the historic preservation tax credit from $60 million to $120 million. The program will also apply to owner-occupied residents. There continues to have the H2 Ohio funding to create high-performing wetlands and provide clean drinking water to communities. I have an email out to them in regards to the clean drinking water. If there is any money in there for individuals within Mason who still have lead pipes for their drinking water. So once I get an email back, I'm going to pass it on to you as the chair of the Public Works to see what you can do to help our residents. He proposes a new Ohio hazard mitigation program to fund projects to protect against damage such as road erosion and minimize the need for local governments to fund costly post-storm repairs. He's continuing the $5,000 scholarship for top students who remain in Ohio after graduation. So if you know anyone, you might want to check that out and see if you can get them some money and keep them here. And 10% of ODOT's budget is set aside to aid local governments with their road and bridge projects. So for fiscal year 26, ODOT will distribute $101 million to municipalities. So that's good news for Mason. All right, does anyone else have any old or new business?
Mayor?
Yes.
I wasn't sure if this fit in older new business or in committee reports, but I just wanted to give a quick update on the Mason for Mason program that me and a number of volunteers in the city have been working on. We have decided on our first project. We want to host a community picnic in August where we're inviting people to come and meet someone new, have a conversation with someone that you have never talked to before. We're calling it the Say Hello Picnic. We're going to host it at Pine Hill Lake Park, and we're hoping to have a couple hundred people there. So I'd like you to mark your calendars and join us. Come and meet someone here in the community that you haven't met before and have a conversation.
That's great. What is the date?
August 2nd. It's a Saturday, and hopefully it won't be scorching hot. But that's why we picked Pine Hill Lake, because there's a shelter and there's trees.
That's good.
And there's a lake.
Okay.
There is a lake, but you wouldn't want to go in it.
Okay, anyone else with old or new business? All right, recognition of visitors. Is there anyone who would like to come and address the podium? No? Okay. Well, we do have a birthday. Councilmember Bennett, it is your birthday coming up.
I do.
So I think we should sing happy birthday to you.
I know. Am I going to sing happy birthday to myself?
She leads and we all follow, so she's not here to sing, so we're in big trouble. Okay, you guys ready?
Entertaining.
Eric? Birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Joy. Happy birthday to you.
Gosh, I apologize for that torture. All right, I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor?
Yes.
Any opposed? All right, great meeting. See you guys next month.